Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zeal or No Zeal. Today, up on the chopping block is 1001 Spikes. This is a precision platformer title published by Nicalis. Does the game excite? Find out in this episode of Zeal or No Zeal. The first thing I notice about this game is how easy it is to move around with my character. He doesn't have any special abilities. Instead, he can walk around, use his knives, and jump. These techniques are nothing special, but they clearly tuned to the challenges of the game. I was amply prepared to handle levels both because it was possible, but also because I had freedom in my moveset that made interacting with the world fun. One major part of this is that my character has 2 separate jump heights. This doesn't seem like a big deal, but it was, at least to me. I often struggle knowing when to let go of the jump button for smaller jumps, but this control layout took that pressure away from me. I was able to quickly make small jumps without worrying about my button presses nearly as much. It helped me be precise with my movements without being precise with my inputs. This was great, because I needed all the help I could get to finagle my way through tricky spots in 1001 Spikes. Overall, I greatly appreciated the character design, and felt the simplicity of the movement options helped me navigate these levels. The levels, on the other hand, were not simple. Each one required that I pay close attention, else I would die a tragic death. Spikes would pop out of the ground at a moment's notice, blocks would fall from the ceiling, and sometimes the ground would disappear beneath my feet. These levels incentivized me to learn the layouts and come back time and time again to complete the picture. I think this game design philosophy is quite fun, and I was constantly engaged in learning more in each of the areas I explored. However, while the constant death traps were entertaining, I got frustrated after a while. My constant fear of death slowed down my play significantly. I don't enjoy much going through levels slowly, and thus this was a bit disappointing for me. Plus, since I was overly concerned with avoiding unforeseen death, I spent a lot of time scouting out levels. I both enjoyed this and disliked this. One part of my brain thoroughly enjoyed seeing how the sometimes complex level designs played out. For example, one level introduced sliding ice blocks, and I needed to platform across them with proper timing so they could stack atop one another before the end of the stage. Levels like these were super interesting, and I felt clever for recognizing how I should move about the levels and how my actions interacted with the world around me. However, another level had me ride a platform through an array of arrows. It was a simple concept, but there was no track indicating where the platform would go. Thus, I had to spend a lot of time watching the platform move before I got on to figure out where I would need to dodge. This level encouraged me to learn, but the end result was not as interesting, and instead just made the level feel more tedious than it needed to be. Another crucial part of my distaste for some levels came from the lack of segmentation. Some levels are super short, while others are a bit longer. This is normal. However, since many of these levels use what I would call cheap tricks to kill me, replaying earlier segments was a bit tedious. Either they were incredibly easy, as I already knew what the traps were, or they were annoying, as I knew where the traps were and I made a silly mistake. This wasn't a huge issue, as this happens in many games, but I definitely noticed it in 1001 Spikes, and once I had the knowledge of where the traps were, it felt like a waste of my time to re-evade them. While the levels were oddly infuriating, I found myself enjoying my playthrough of the game. Maybe I just like platforms, and maybe I don't mind spending excessive amounts of time replaying the same levels, but oddly enough, I had fun. I find it weird though, because I did not think the levels were overwhelmingly charming, I didn't like the tedium associated with dying, and the core gameplay loop remained constant for the majority of the game. Despite not thinking anything in the game is particularly good, I felt good playing it, and I enjoyed talking about it too. It's not a phenomenon for sure. I also think it's worth noting that there is so much content here. There are more than 10 playable characters, multiple modes to sink time into, and a shop with impossibly steep prices. 1001 Spikes is a game you could spend a lot of time in, especially if you enjoy it. Overall, I'm glad I played 1001 Spikes. It's by no means the best game I've ever played, and honestly I'm not rushing to recommend it, but it snuck its way into my heart. I had fun even if I was dying and getting frustrated a lot. Sure, the level designs are nothing spectacular, but there are a few that are truly great, and the rest are still fun to explore. Despite my mixed opinion, and even though I don't think 1001 Spikes is innately a great game, it did incite zeal. Thank you so much for watching.